think it's time we talk about the cap space. What is up, Finn fans? Yes, today we're going to talk about the Miami Dolphins cap space because as of right now, it looks horrible. But there are a bunch of moves, and a bunch of moves that the Dolphins potentially are going to make that can go from horrible to real good. I'm going to talk about all that, but real quick, there's some things I need to talk about, and then we'll jump into this. First, I do need to address something because I've been contacted multiple times about this one situation. I talked about it on the live stream yesterday, but I want to talk about it in a video so a lot more people can see it because not everyone watches the live streams because they're long. If you get contacted by me, whether in an email, if you get contacted by me in a text message, you need to look around and say, how the flip did he get my phone number? Or in the comment section, and it's not me. It's not DouglieDoWrong@gmail.com. It's not just DouglieDoWrong in the comment section. And I'm telling you, you want anything, I'm telling you, you need to contact me because you want something, any of that stuff, don't believe it. Unless it's literally me, that it just says DouglieDoWrong, because I noticed in the comment sections, it was like, giveaway at Dougie. No. Just DouglieDoWrong. For one, I will tell you when I'm doing a giveaway, and I will announce it on this channel. I will announce the winners on this channel, and I will tell you to contact me if you won. I will never contact you and reach out to you, especially in an email or a text message, because I don't have your emails or text messages, saying you won something. This is what you have to do. Click on this link, yada, yada. I will never, ever do that. Like I said, when we break 40K, which we're less than 1,000 away, I'm going to announce a giveaway, and then I'm going to announce the winner on a live stream, and then I will tell you to email me. And when you email me, then we'll get this stuff settled. I will never contact you about these things. I will never contact you about money. I will never contact you about any of that stuff. For one, that's not me. And for two, that's not how I run. So if you get any contact from somebody claiming to be me, but you notice that their @ is wrong, you notice that their email address is wrong, or you notice that their YouTube channel thing is super long, and then they throw DouglieDoWrong in there and they stole my image, my logo, it's not me. So please be careful out there. There's a lot of scammers out there, and now apparently they're using me, and it is making me mad. So I'm trying to figure out how to go about getting rid of these scammers. So there's that. Now let's jump into the cap space. Now, March 15th, Wednesday, which is coming up soon, right? It's a little over a month away, is when the new year starts. Wednesday at 4 p.m., March 15th. You got the 2-day tampering period beforehand, the Monday, the 13th, and the Tuesday, the 14th, where a lot of so-and-so has come into an agreement with so-and-so for however long, and then it becomes official on March 15th at 4 p.m. when they sign. That is where on Wednesday, March 15th, all of these teams that are in the negative need to get their cap space right to be in the positive by then, or they hit some type of penalty. Now, I'm going to minimize myself, and we're going to look at the cap space, and then I'll bring myself back up, and I'll talk about certain players, or I might just keep myself minimized, and I'm going to show you certain players. I'm going to show you how the Dolphins cap space can be transformed, right? So let me minimize myself and show you what I'm talking about, because you're probably like, what are you talking about, Doug? So like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are a negative $55 million in cap space. Them, the Saints, who's negative 52. The Tennessee Titans, negative 23. Jacksonville Jaguars, who are negative 20. The Chargers, who are negative 19. The Green Bay Packers, who are negative 14. There, the Dolphins are 26, who are negative 14. You got the Vikings, who are negative 13. The Rams, who are negative 11. The Browns, negative 9. The Bills, negative 5. The Panthers, negative 4. The Pittsburgh Steelers, negative 3. And the Jets, negative 2 million. All of those teams need to get their eggs in a row, and they need to get themselves situated by March 15th at 4 p.m. and get into the positive. Now, there's 3 teams on there who are AFC East, Dolphins, Bills, and Jets are in the negative. You look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, like I said, they're negative 55 million. And then you got the top ones here. Chicago is 115 million in cap space. That's because they really don't have much. And look at the average age is 26. That's ridiculous. Atlanta Falcons, 56 million. You got the Cincinnati Bengals, 49 million. You got the Patriots, 46 million. Giants, 45. Houston Texans, 41. Baltimore Ravens, 32. What if I told you that the Miami Dolphins can very easily go from 26 to third in cap space? And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. How certain moves can be made that they can get about $53.9 million in cap space. So that's what I'm going to talk about. Real quick, I want to see who is the youngest team. Can we look at that? I can't look at that. Giants are at 25. That looks to be the youngest. Yeah. The Giants have the youngest average team. And then when it comes to signed, I don't know why that's not working. The most signed Falcons 57 million. Patriots 59. Broncos 59. The Dolphins only have 45 signed when it comes to 2023. So they have a lot to do. The team with the least amount signed, Jacksonville 42. San Fran and Kansas City only have 35 players under contract. 35. Wow. But we're going to look at the Miami Dolphins. And there's a lot. We're going to go by criteria. And I'm not going to do it on here because there's certain things that I want to be able to do that I can't do. Like restructuring, that's going to be kind of the first thing we're going to talk about is restructuring. So if you look here, the cap hit this year, which is the year 2023, for Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb, Teron Armstead, Emmanuel Ogbah. Those are the four we're going to be looking at, right? Emmanuel Ogbah, Teron Armstead, Bradley Chubb, and Tyreek Hill are big. $31 million cap hit for Tyreek Hill, $22 million for Bradley Chubb, $21 million for Teron Armstead, and $17 million for Emmanuel Ogbah. Now, Tyreek Hill, Armstead, and Chubb aren't going anywhere, right? And those three guys, you can convert a big chunk of their contract into a signing bonus. Essentially, it's taken off of the salary cap and kind of put into a signing bonus. So with Tyreek Hill, about $11 million can be converted to a signing bonus. For Teron Armstead, $6 million can be converted to a signing bonus. And for Bradley Chubb, $15 million can be changed into a signing bonus. Now, Emmanuel Ogbah, I just want to show you something with Emmanuel Ogbah real quick. Now, this year, his contract, again, it's a $17 million cap hit, dead cap of $21 million. You're not cutting him and really saving money, right? You could do a post June 1st trade and save $11 million, right? So they'd have to wait until after June 1st to trade him, and then they can get $11 million there. Again, post June 1st trade, $11 million, but before that, it's $3 million in dead cap. Plus, if you watched what happened with the Dolphins with Bradley Chubb and all that stuff, they're probably going to keep Emmanuel Ogbah. So it's more likely than not they're going to keep Emmanuel Ogbah. So again, restructuring his contract, when it comes to into the signing bonus, you save $9 million. So $11 million, $6 million, $9 million, and $15 million for those four guys equals $41 million in savings to convert all of that money into a signing bonus. That now takes the Miami Dolphins cap hit or cap from negative $14.2 million to $25 million. All of a sudden, right? Let me go back. All of a sudden, we go from 26, right? And this is just from restructuring 4 contracts into signing bonuses. We go from 26 at negative 14 million all the way up to 9th at 25 million. Right? So all of a sudden, boom, we got money to play with. We got money that we can now go out and get an Edmonds. We can go out and get potential pieces to make it better and even potentially sign some guys, right? There's that. Then there's two players that we're going to talk about. Connor Williams. Connor Williams right here is going to be making 8.345 million dollar cap hit, right? It's not a big cap hit, but I could really see the Dolphins coming in and restructuring his contract, right? Because the Dolphins can cut him and save $4 million. If they do it post June 1st, they could save $6 million. But he's been a very big staple for this offensive line. So what I could see them doing here is giving him a contract extension, extending him out, having him on the team for at least another 2-3 more years, 2 years guaranteed, or this year's guaranteed, the next year guaranteed. And by doing that, they can stretch out his payment and shave off a couple mil, not really going to come in and make a drastic change to the salary cap, but save about, $3 million, let's say, off of that. Xavier Howard, right? I'll show you Xavier Howard. He can't be cut this year. And I talked about that last year, this past off, video a few weeks ago. He can't be cut because if he gets cut, it's a negative $22 million cap hit. And if he gets traded, it's a negative $20 million cap hit. Post June 1st release, you save about $1 million. And the post June 1st, you save about $2.2 million. It's not really worth it to trade or cut him. Plus, his $11 million cap hit isn't that bad, especially if he can get back to the form that he was before this past year, because it wasn't great. So there's a possibility there of restructuring. Again, he's still on, he still has another 3 years with the Dolphins. But after this year, they can move on from him and save about $2 million. And then post June 1st, they could save $18 million, which this looks like a possibility. And again, we'll get to Byron in a second. So it seems like next year, if he doesn't become the guy, and again, his cap hit goes up by $14 million, you can see here. Next year, if he doesn't go back to who he is and stuff, they'll probably trade him, or they'll make it a post June 1st release and have a ton of cap space from his release, $18.5 million. But it doesn't seem like X is going anywhere, and his cap space will kind of stay where it's at there. Then we'll talk about Byron Jones. Byron Jones is in the phase that Xavier Howard will be next year. If the Dolphins cut him before June 1st or trade him before June 1st, it's only $4 million savings. But if they do it after June 1st, release or trade him, it's a $14 million savings. So that seems like the likely possibility after June 1st, or and what they could do is they can designate him. Say the beginning of the season starts, say even beforehand, where the Dolphins start making their moves, re-signing, cutting players, this, and that. They could say, oh, we're going to designate Byron Jones for a post-June 1st cut, which means they will get their $14.1 million, I think, after June 1st. I don't think they get it up front. I think they'll get it after June 1st. And that seems like the likely thing, because he didn't play. He's 30 years old. He did not play all this year, and I honestly think he could have played. I think him trying to make sure he was 100%, and then little setbacks happen, and this, and that. I think that was all load. So I honestly think that this is what's going to happen. He's going to get a post-June 1st release, saving $14.1 million. So the shaving a little bit of Connor Williams' contract by giving him an extension and releasing Byron Jones post-June 1st cut will save up, let's say, around roughly like 18 million, which is putting the Miami Dolphins in the cap space of $42.1 million. So just by restructuring 4 contracts, giving Connor Williams an extension, and cutting Byron, so you're only doing 6 things at this point, you are now going from negative $14 million in cap space to $42.1 million in cap space, all the way up to the number 6 in cap space. And at that point, you have a lot of money to play with, right? You can do what you need to do. But I'm not done. There are the small contracts that you can cut that don't have a lot of fat on them, but you could still trim them, like Stephan Carter. He's a $2.3 million cap hit, but a $500,000 dead cap. You cut him, you can save, here, I'll click on it, 1.82 mil, right, by releasing him. And then you have Keon Crossan, who I don't know if they'll cut him. I might have passed him. I don't know if they'll cut him because he is pivotal in special teams and he's good depth. But they'll save about $3.14 million. So shave it off like about $2 million, give or take. And our new cap space is, about if they did decide to go move on from Kieran Crossen and Cethan Carter, they're sitting at $47.9 million. But again, I don't think they'll move on from Kieran Crossen, especially because his cap hit isn't that big. So they'll probably be sitting at about $45 million after they release Cethan Carter, because I can also see them, needing tight end help. Then there is the curious case of Benjamin Bud. No, there's Cedric Wilson Jr. The Dolphins went out and grabbed Cedric Wilson Jr. before they went out and got Tyreek Hill. So at the time, this looked like a great move, especially because of what he did in Dallas and his limited opportunities. And then the Dolphins got Tyreek Hill, and you think, oh, he's the number 3. But then Sherfield showed up and Craycraft showed up, and then all these guys really started playing well, and then he kind of became obsolete. So if the Dolphins did decide that they wanted to trade him, before June 1st, it's a $6 million savings. So they can save a big chunk of money by trading him, and I can honestly see them trading him. The Dolphins, when it comes to their draft pick, I don't think they have a 4th or a 5th. So they could trade Cedric Wilson Jr. and get about a 4th or a 5th. I think they have a 6th and a 7th. They don't have much. I think they have 5 draft picks this year. So they could trade Cedric Wilson Jr., save $6 million on their cap, and go out and get some late round draft picks, right? The new cap hit at that point would be about $52.9 million, $53.9 million, give or take, right? And if you look at where the Dolphins would be, again, they're 26th here, around 50-something million. Let's round it to 50 million. They're at the number 3 spot. Like I said, I'm going to show you how they can get from 26 at -14 to 3rd with $53.9 million, around $50 million in cap space. And I'm not even done there, right? Because then you have Christian Wilkins. Christian Wilkins, they picked up his 5th-year option. So Christian Wilkins is going to cost $10.753 million. Give that man a contract extension. That's also going to save you a few million on the cap hit when you give him an extension, because all of a sudden he's not going to cost $10 million this year. They need to give him a contract extension. I'm pretty sure that's something they're working on. And then you also have, I might have passed him, Jerome Baker. Now, Jerome Baker, his cap hit is, see, again, he's in the same situation that Byron's in and X will be in next year. His cap hit is $12 million. But if they decide to trade or cut him before June 1st, it's a $3.8 million savings. But if they do it after June 1st, like if they draft a guy, if they sign a guy, if all of a sudden Jerome Baker becomes expendable, they save about $8.7 million. So even if they did save $3.8 million, that's still even more added on. So say they do restructure Christian Wilkins and they do move on from Jerome Baker, which I don't think they will. But again, I'm giving you options and opportunities. Dolphins could be sitting at around $60 million in cap space, which would put them number 2 in the NFL. So again, looking at how everything could be moved around and stuff, and yes, it depends on how they structure these contracts, and the Dolphins are very good at structuring contracts. Like I showed you with X, like I showed you with Byron, like I showed you with Jerome Baker. I can even show you with Teron Armstead and Emmanuel Ogbah. They structure contracts in a way that there's an out after about 2 years. There's an out that they can, move on from the player, save a ton of cap space like they can do with Byron, like they could do with Jerome Baker. So when you look at the cap space and you look at it's -$14 million, and then you're like having a heart attack, just realize that even Chris Grier said in his presser, the end of the year presser, that the cap space we have right now is not going to be the cap space we're going to have when everything's said and done. A lot of pieces are going to be moved around. A lot of players are going to be re-signed, cut, all that stuff. And if the Dolphins do certain things, like I gave you a whole list, they can be sitting at around $60 million in cap space and have the number 2 cap space in the NFL and do what they need to get better. We went to the playoffs, gave the Bills a fight of their life, and then they lost to Cincinnati. and we can do something real special. So again, I want to make this video to, for one, show what I could see the Dolphins doing, and for two, to kind of ease a lot of people freaking out that the fact that the Dolphins are negative 14 million. And the reason we jumped to negative 14 million is because we signed those 7 players to future contracts. But yeah, and the fact that we don't have a first round pick also kind of helps with the cap space, because you don't have to pay that first round rookie contract, which has that guaranteed money in it. But comment below, let me know what you think. Again, if you want to see this more in depth, if you want to see even more moves, check out Barry Jackson's article. I'll link it in the description. Check out his article. He talks about other things, and he talks about more moves, and he talks about in depth and all that stuff. But his article gave me an idea of how we can move and how we could do things. So Barry Jackson's article will be linked below. Check it out. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think. And again, unless me personally contacts you, ignore anybody that texts you, contacts you, that has the name like so-and-so DouglieDoWrong, or this, and that DouglieDoWrong. If it doesn't say just DouglieDoWrong, it ain't me. But I appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Me and Big O are getting together. I have a ton of videos planned. I got the end of the year awards video. We have, free agency videos. We got a ton of videos, all that good stuff. And then I will be live Sunday for the Bengals Chiefs game to see who the flip is going to the Super Bowl. But other than that, like usual, stay classy. My friends out.